Hi everybody, my name is Ursula Philpot. I'm a registered dietitian and I'm presenting a series of videos around how you can change diet and food habits to help you manage persistent pain better. Foods and food products that we'd like you to have a little bit less of in a diet that's helpful for persistent pain would be things like what we call white flour products. So there might be products made with white flour, such as pastries, such as bagels, croissants, those kind of things, or just everyday breads that would be made with kind of white flour. So we'd like you to reduce those products down to tiny amounts if possible, or replace those with either homemade or whole grain products. We'd also like you to try to reduce what we call kind of processed foods. So those would include things like shop-bought biscuits, shop-bought cakes, crisps, shop-bought samosas and bhajis. If you're making them yourself at home, we don't mind you having them as much as the shop-bought ones. But again, we would just say try to keep those to smaller amounts in the diet where possible. The last section to think about kind of reducing down would be cereals that don't have any whole grains in them. So reduce down kind of cereals that don't have those whole grain products in. So we would like you to replace things like cornflakes, Rice Krispies, Special K, those kind of cereals with things that have a higher fibre content. So things like muesli, oats, or kind of bran-based products. So in Mediterranean style eating, we ask you to eat some products in what we call moderation. So we often get asked, what do you mean by moderation? So cheese is one of those products we say to have in moderation. So that means reducing it to about 30 grams a day. So for visual purposes, that's about kind of 2 thumbs stuck together a day for cheese. White meat products, again, about 100 grams a day. So again, that's quite a small amount. You're probably going to have to weigh that out to see what that looks like. And eggs, to have around 2 of those a day maximum. Products to reduce sort of more generally over the week would be red meat. So again, we really want you to kind of reduce that down to a small amount, which is around 100 grams or less a week. And to keep those processed meats to very tiny amounts. So just, 1 thin sausage a week or 1 slice of bacon a week. That's the tiny amount that we're looking at for those products. When you're thinking about changing your diet, to make changes to diet, one of the things that would be really important is not to take out everything that you enjoy. So we don't want to come to you and say, start taking out all of the things that make your life worth living, all the things you really enjoy. So we have what we would call in our diets non-negotiables. So it might be something like coffee or chocolate, or a cake or an odd pudding, something that you really enjoy and you think, no, I don't want to take that out of my diet. So what we would say with those is don't take them out, keep them in. But have a look at how you can have less of them or have them less often. So it's really thinking about tiny changes to those to make those portions smaller. So you can either, so for example, if you chose a portion of a chocolate bar, you could have a whole chocolate bar, once every few days, or you could have smaller amounts of that chocolate every day. So it'd be up to you. Do I have a large slice of cake once a fortnight, or do I have a little bit of cake every day? So it's really thinking about trying to spread it out in terms of portion and frequency around those non-negotiables. So when you're thinking about making changes to your diet, one of the things we'd like you to think about doing is making tiny changes. So these are small things that you can start with that are relatively easy to do. So it might be something like adding in an omega-3 supplement every day, or adding in a vitamin D supplement every day, and simply taking that tablet once a day, and that might be one tiny change to make. Another tiny change that might be, say, for example, adding 3 Brazil nuts in your diet to get an adequate amount of selenium. So just adding those 3 Brazil nuts a day will give you better amounts of selenium in the diet, but again is quite a tiny change. So rather than trying to change your whole diet or thinking about taking lots of things out of the diet, think about small changes and think about adding into the diet and doing those one at a time. Some kind of hints and tips to help you manage a different way of eating, or help you manage kind of snacking habits in the daytime in the home, might be to really think about portion and frequency. So for foods that you really enjoy, it might be that you buy them in single portions, because that can really help you to make better choices over the day about how many to have. You know, if you've got a plate of biscuits out, you like to eat a few of those at least. If you've got biscuits that come just in a pack of 2, you're likely to just eat 2 of those biscuits. So buying things in single portions can really help. The other thing that can really help is to have foods on display in the house that are healthy and that you want to eat more of. So having ready chopped fruit, having nuts out, having seeds out, you're more likely to snack on those. If you've got foods that you don't want to be eating out on the counter, you're more likely to, you know, if you've got bowls of crisps out, you're going to eat the crisps. If you've got bowls of nuts out, you're going to eat the nuts. So have the things out that you want to eat more of in the diet and have those within easy reach. Other hints and tips for foods that you really like would be to cut them into tiny portions. So try and think about bite-sized portions instead of large portions. You know, if you normally have a slice of cake that you know, is sort of big as your hand, try instead to have a slice of cake that's as big as 2 fingers or even just 1 finger. So having those smaller amounts can allow you to still enjoy the things that you really like within the diet and not have to take those out completely. Another way would be thinking about changing your mindset as well. You know, if you really enjoy biscuits in your diet, don't feel bad about eating biscuits. Don't think I'll eat a whole packet of biscuits because then I'm not going to allow myself loads for the next few weeks. It's much better to say, I'll have 2 biscuits a day. I'll have 1 in the morning and I'll have 1 in the afternoon and really enjoy those biscuits than it is to ban them, to say I'm not eating biscuits anymore and then to eat a whole pack of them. So changing that is what we call all or nothing thinking around foods, and trying to pace yourself with those by having small amounts more frequently can be really helpful. So thank you for listening to the video today. This is one of a series of videos that you can access from the Rethinking Pain website or the Rethinking Pain YouTube channel. In addition to that, we also have a diet therapy workshop that runs, and you can see a member of the Rethinking Pain team if you would like to access that workshop. And the more people we get, the better. So please come along.